Hey everyone, welcome to a winning edition of the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave, Palet, Mario Herron. Josh isn't on the show today. He's I'm sure celebrating, but he's in Mexico for the holidays and on his way back. So it's Mario and I who are going to take you through this one, and hopefully you guys have something to say. A lot of things to say in this game, but it's a victory day, Mario. So that means I got to light up another cigar. A lot of times it's easier for me to smoke these cigars when two of you guys are talking and I get a chance to pull it together, but we'll see if I can time this thing out. Here you go. So, Mario, we'll start off this way. Chargers win 17-13, but there is a lot in a game where it seemed like there weren't a lot of points and a lot of positive things, I think, to look at. And, of course, I think there's one underlining problem that the Chargers have that we'll talk about as well. But, Brian, I'll get your opinion first. What do you think about the big win? Team's now 8-4, by the way.
8-4, and this was let's be honest, this was a Chicago Bear win. This is a 2006 Chicago Bear win right here, man. It was ugly. It was torture at moments. I mean, the third quarter was awful. The Chargers total yards in the third, 18. Falcons total yards was 142. It was just at moments I was like, how the hell are they even going to win this game? But they did. They pulled it out because they're the more talented team, because our defense showed up in multiple different ways, because a lot of guys decided to step up in this game and help them win. But I can't lie to you and say I'm not a little worried. It's a win, but it didn't give me more confidence in it heading into next week.
All right, so let's start right at the beginning, okay? Because there are a couple things that happened at the beginning of the game that first thing that was unusual was the Falcons won the coin toss and they elected to receive the ball. Like, you never see that in football nowadays.
Yeah, you never do. It was weird.
Yeah, and I don't know if they sold it as we're going to punch those guys right in the mouth and we're going to score points and we're going to show them that it's our game. I don't know what the thought was, but either way, it didn't work out. That was unusual to see. Here's the thing that was a positive because of this show. We've mentioned it before. If you're new to the show, Josh played high school football with Tony Jefferson. So the three of us have been cheering for Tony Jefferson to get on the field and do something. That the last preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys, he had an insane game, like games that don't even happen in movies. But Tony Jefferson, we haven't seen him. And Tony Jefferson, right off the bat, in the first series, Mario, he had 3 tackles. And it finished with 7 in the half. And you're going, okay, well, that's kind of cool because we all know Derwin James loves having him on the field. He's smart, knows where to be. He's a guy that's a vet of more than 10 years. And you're going, well, that's Tony Jefferson, where he might not be athletically still the most gifted player, but as far as what his brain does, he is a guy that can provide a lot. So for me, I was excited. Here's a kid lives down the street from me, and he's playing for the Chargers, which is the hometown team he grew up with, and he was making an impact. But at the same time, then when we get the ball, that's when things get a little bit scary, right? We go, what does it take for this team to get points? I mean, overall, what does it take for this offense to score points? And it seems like if we didn't have Cameron Dicker, maybe we don't even have the 8 wins. But we have a kicker that has no problem booting them through for more than 50 yards out over and over again. You look at what the Falcons went through, and they have a kicker that's a complete disaster right now. And again, we know him because he's a former Charger. The Chargers gave up on him super quick, but he's a former Charger, bad hip, can't make easy field goals. And I'm looking at the Falcons, Mara, and I'm thinking, I'm glad that's not us. Like, we aren't the team that gave a quarterback all that money that throws a million picks. And we aren't the team that gave a quarterback all that money that stinks in primetime games and everybody knows it. But at the same time, you don't have the kicker that comes through. You might not have the right head coach. You're going to be known as that team, if they fail, that told Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time, hey, it's not going to work for you here. I mean, you literally told him, hey, you aren't good enough for us. That's kind of nuts the way the whole thing worked out.
That's something that I feel like gets forgot about too much, and like an organization that like truly with the way they're going right now in that direction needs to be brought up more. Like, they told the greatest coach we've ever seen, hey, we're all set.
Your resume sucks.
Yeah. You didn't have enough references for your resume. Yeah. We called Tom Brady. You didn't pick up.
You did some background checks, and you weren't very well liked at the last place you worked.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell?
Robert Kraft didn't give a great recommendation for you, so sadly we're going to go a different direction. We'll circle back if the position reopens.
I always love the circle back line. Kills me. It's disrespectful.
And so it sucks because when you told me the first time that how disrespectful that is, I used to say circle back all the time.
Yeah.
Like on a
Listen,
guest, if I reached out and the time it didn't work out, I was like, I'll circle back next week. I always
yeah,
said that.
dude, this is circle back season for anyone who's in sales or any work. Like this is circle back season from Thanksgiving to the end of the year. And when you finally do circle back, if you ever do, it's always mid-January. It takes people a long time to get their bearings. But man, when anyone says, "Hey, let's circle back at the beginning of the year," you want to punch them in the face.
Oh, yeah,
So
you're
the
screwed.
circle back line is the greatest line of all time. It basically means I'm never going to call you ever.
Yeah,
No interest.
it's like when it's like you go on a date line. It's like, oh, that was so fun. I'll text you this week. You're not gonna text them. That's not happening. Anyways, back to the start of the game. No, it was kind of a scary start, if I'm being honest with you, man, because Bijan Robinson was running it early and often on the Chargers, and it seemed like the middle of the field was just wide open, right?
Right.
And I was like, all right, this is back-to-back weeks where like just Derrick Henry and Bijan Robinson, and I know that's two of the best, running backs you could arguably say in the league right now, but they are just carving us up. And it's just undeniably a very huge worry. And like, Denzel Perryman's out right now. It's like that doesn't help. But I remember like watching that first drive and they missed the kick and then the Chargers fumble it. And then, Bijan takes that and, it leads to a touchdown. And I remember going, this could, if first off, if they hit that field goal and Chargers commit a turnover and it's 10-0, that is a pretty hard hole to get out of. It just really scared me, Dave, because as soon as that happened, too, I remembered, like, look, this Charger team's not a strong second-half team. They're not a strong comeback team. Like, we haven't seen that yet this year really happen for them. So if they get down in the hole, they usually stay in the hole. There's no getting out of it. And, obviously they come out and win. And I think that's more shout out to Harbaugh's will and the will that is his team. And, like, if that was a Staley team, obviously that team loses, like, 24-3, let's be honest. But I mean, like you said, a win's a win. I will say, do you think this game did anything for our boys' confidence in Quentin Johnston? Because I'm going to go with a -18.
No, I don't want to say you throw him away because he's all you have. I mean, there just aren't a lot of weapons. They just don't have a lot of weapons. And Justin Herbert, the more I see the Chargers pull out wins, and Jim Harbaugh, everything he's done to boost up Justin Herbert, it's almost feels like a sales job, even though Justin Herbert's not going anywhere because of a contract. But man, if it wasn't for the two guys, the two faces of this franchise, I mean, your head coach and your quarterback, you have nothing. I mean, for Justin Herbert, how frustrating is it to say, I can't believe this is the NFL and these are the weapons I have? Right now, I have 4 games on right in front of my face, and I'm looking even at the Titans with, Calvin Ridley. And, there are weapons there. And I'm looking at Pollard and I'm going, there are weapons there. And then on another TV, I'm looking at the Steelers and the Bengals, tons of weapons there. The Jets taking on Seattle. It's amazing. The Jets stink, but yet they have a ton of weapons. And the Chargers have nothing. Justin Herbert, nobody's going to mention him in the MVP, candidate race. But, man, the way he has played this year with the lack of turnovers has been completely amazing. I do want to get into, real quick, the first half, just the way it kind of wrapped up for the Chargers, because the Chargers 1.5 went leading 9-7. As you mentioned, no touchdowns at all from this offense. Hassan Haskins fumbles in the first quarter, and we all know that the Chargers, one of the big things is taking care of the ball. When Haskins fumbles the ball, which, turns into 3 points, or excuse me, turns into points for the Falcons, it becomes, frustrating. We fumble the ball on the Chargers 29-yard line. Bijan Robinson runs it in for a 2-yard touchdown run. And then you're going, okay, for everyone who, writes on the side, hey, this is who should be playing. When Haskins turns the ball over, what goes through your mind right there?
Oh, it screams out to me, why the hell is Gus Edwards not getting the football right there? What is going on? Like that was a word to me of, is Gus Edwards, there's something more going on with Gus than we know right now, because he was RB1 going into the year. And then now it's sitting here as he's splitting carries with 2 different guys. One guy that was just signed and the other guy's a rookie. Like, what's going on here? And I think Dave, this today also showed to kind of build off your point that without JK, this offense is a completely different offense for the worse.
Because he was one of our weapons, You're right. I mean, JK is that much better than any other running back that we have. The fact he goes on the IR, you wonder, can this team continue to do it with smoke and mirrors? And And if you're a Southern California sports fan, Mario, to take a baseball reference here, if you followed the Dodgers and going, man, how are we going to make it? Look how many guys are injured. There aren't any pitching. The Dodgers did it with smoke and mirrors. Jim Harbaugh is and his coaching staff are really good. Justin Herbert doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Really good. But can the defense pull it together? Can they have games like they had today? So that was just one of the things I want to point to you. Here's the star of the game. Okay, without a doubt, the star of the game is Taryib Still. I mean, not only does he come up with the interception that turns into 3 points for the Chargers in the second quarter, but man, all of a sudden, he's the guy that if you're a Charger fan and if you didn't know who he was before the game, you're sitting there going, who's that guy? Because I'm glad he is on our team. All of a sudden, he was a magnet. I mean, he had a great game overall. And if he was a Pro Bowler, you'd say that's what Pro Bowlers do. He couldn't have played a better game from his position today.
No, he could have. And I think we got to shout out to like the drafting that was done by Joe and Jim. It's
Ortiz, yeah.
Like, oh my God, man. Like, I know, E60 and 30 for 30 has like kind of died down, but like it would be fantastic if they could do just a quick E60, like real quick about this draft class, because it literally might be something that in 5 or to 8 years, we're like, this is the draft class that kind of changed the Charger organization. You look defensively, Still, who had the pick 6 today and had an interception outside of that and was just playing great coverage. You have Cam Hart, who's been a big part of this team. Let's say Junior Colson ends up being really something. All three of those guys in that same draft class. You have Vlad McConkey, who half his body is just on a stroke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he gets hit and he can't move anymore.
Yeah.
So you have all that packed into one, and then you have Joe Alt, who's like the first of them all, who's just been, we can get into that O-line later, but oh my God, man, I would go one-on-one with Bosman right now, and I think I could get around him, which is how he played today. But like the way that those guys are able to step up, I think it's just big, and I know we've gassed him up a lot, but Jesse Minter, I think a lot of his coaching was shown through today.
Yep.
What surprised me, Dave, was, and maybe like the lack of touchdowns was concerning, but like I feel like I shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised. See, I remember I wrote down on my notes in the first quarter after the Chargers' second drive. I go, Chargers are going to have to lean heavy on Herbert today. It's going to be a big Herbert 2-touchdown game. And that's what I thought the first quarter, because I thought Cousins is turning over the ball. We're getting a classic Cousins game where he forgets what jersey he's wearing. And yet it never really clicked and never really happened. At any point in this game, in whether it's first half or second half, did you think Chargers will definitely get in the end zone, or did you think, no, it's just a Cameron Dicker day?
No, I thought for sure you get in the end zone. I mean, it's the NFL, right? How do you not get in the end zone? They're gonna score. They got to. And the fact that they didn't get in offensively and they needed Still to step up and be the guy. Look, let's not also look over Joe Ortiz that he picked up Marcus Maye like this week. Put his Charger uniform on for the first time and comes up with a huge interception in the end zone. I mean, that was enormous as well. So the front office has been great. And, past front offices, and you're looking at other general managers are getting fired around the NFL right now for the season's even over. And like, it's a coin flip on the guys they get. For the Chargers, the moves they're making, and we wanted something at the trade deadline. Fantastic job. After that Ravens game, I think a lot of us this week, like, what the hell are we doing? All right. And saw a couple people wrote in, hey, maybe move Derwin James to linebacker. I didn't even think about what Tony Jefferson could bring because he's very physical, but at the same time, when you look at Still, you look at Maye and the turnovers that they created off the Falcons, very, very impressive. It was one of those, I think, if you're the Falcons and you're going in the locker room right now and you're looking at that offensive coaching staff, hey, how the hell did you guys fall apart at home against a team that came in bruised and battered and missing players? I almost think we almost aren't giving the Chargers enough credit for winning that game, because it's easy for us to say, hey, offensively, you guys couldn't get in the end zone. But sometimes that's how you have to win these games. I mean, whatever it takes. And today was one of those whatever it takes games.
And the defense has such a good message of, you're going to get them. Like, you're going to get on them. And it's been a theme throughout the year. But as soon as you hit the red zone, they just they drink the Michael Jordan secret juice and Space Jam, and they just like turn it on. And then like you're done. You don't have anything outside of that. And it's been a continuous thing. And I think it is a large credit, and that's something maybe that we overlook is that whatever you want to say about the Falcons, this is an insanely talented team. I mean, Drake London's a hell of a receiver. Bijan Robinson's a great player. Darnell Mooney's turned back the clock a little bit. Kyle Pitts, he's supposed to be good. We don't, you know what I mean? He's supposed to be really good, but yeah, he just doesn't get the ball. And outside of that whole thing, we're a secondary that's very, very weak, but we plug and play guys and they end up playing great. And they end up, playing exceeding expectations. And you're just like, wow, like what a credit to the Chargers and their staff. And like people are going to crap on Kirk Cousins a lot, but Kirk Cousins to win games, Dave, is pretty damn good. And when he had the ball, and Kirk Highland even said this, he's like, he's been in a situation before. He knows what to do. I was sitting there going, all right, I'm not 100% confident in our defense that they can get the stop. And then I get an alert on my phone that McConkey is questionable to return to the game with a knee injury. And I'm going, if they get the ball back and they have to go to win the game, I actually have zero confidence that we can move the ball. Like I absolutely zero. You know what I mean? Like what Palmer's suddenly going to create separation. Quentin Johnston's going to win a one-on-one. We'll get to that later. I have a lot to say on his one-on-one.
Good.
Pitiful performance. But I was just like, I have no confidence in that happening. So the secondary, like it's next man up mentality that whole freaking time, and that they pull off the win. I mean, it's truly exceptional. Were you surprised at all by Cousins' 4 picks?
Oh, 100% I am. As much as, people like to make fun of Kirk Cousins, anyone who plays fantasy football will tell you Kirk Cousins is a dream. I mean, Kirk Cousins is great. If you look at Kirk Cousins' fantasy football numbers compared to Aaron Rodgers, you would take Cousins every single year. And then today, for him to fall apart, shows you something also that Jesse Minter is presenting something to Kirk Cousins and other quarterbacks in this league that they haven't seen or haven't prepared for. Because that says a lot for a guy that's a veteran that should have seen everything that this league has to offer. Tom Brady used to say it all the time. There's nothing you can throw at me that I haven't seen. Seen it over and over again. Kirk Cousins should be in that situation as well. So overall, I believe Kirk Cousins, tell me if I'm wrong, I think he was drafted in 2012 by Washington. So he's been in the league a long time. That, how much can you throw at him? Well, for Jesse Minter to sit there and get 4 picks off him today is tremendous. Tremendous. I can't imagine he just all of a sudden every decision was a bad one. I think he thought he saw things that weren't there, and the Chargers took advantage of it. And obviously all of us are Jesse Minter fans on this show, but again, how many guys even on this Chargers defense, as this was a defensive win, how many guys on this Chargers defense are all pro players? You don't have a lot of them, right? I mean, it's the no-name defense. That's what this is for people around the NFL. There's no TJ Watt on this team. There's no Myles Garrett on this team. We don't have those guys, but yet this team continues to step up and create wins. Again, now 8-4 on the season. And again, through the stretch they're going through and coming off that loss to the Ravens short week, holiday week, man, one of those, I think if you're a Charger fan, you got to feel pretty good because it seemed like it's been years since we've been in this kind of groove.
And to your point, like the guys that stepped up today, like you hear Bosa, you hear Mac, we mentioned Tuli a ton, you have Dupree. Who's the one guy that gets a sack today? It's Tart. Yeah. Like Tart could very much in 3 years, all respect to him, could very much not be in the NFL. Yeah. Like that's a very realistic possibility for his career. Like not even crapping on the guy. Like that's just how it goes. So the fact that the guys step up all the time is fantastic. And now that we mentioned the O-line and D-line, let's get into that a little bit because one more thing on Kirk Cousins, by the way, you're right on 2012. Still so funny that he was drafted same year as RG3. Shout out to like Commanders again. God, you guys were geniuses back in the day. God,
dude, the Cowboys, the year they took Troy Aikman, though, took Steve Walsh from Miami. They drafted 2 quarterbacks in the same year too.
Did they really?
And then the Cowboys only won 1 game, Troy Aikman's rookie year, and Walsh was the quarterback in that game. It was against Washington, actually. And then they traded Walsh to the New Orleans Saints later on when they realized, hey, you know what? This is the way it's going to go. Because Jimmy Johnson coached Walsh at the University of Miami, so he brought his guy with him. Wow. So, again, tells you I'm an old guy, man. I've been watching this for a long time.
There's a long time. Dave, how many bad Dallas takes are there around that time? You know what I mean?
Oh, a million.
I bet there's fired. If that was me,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have been over 80 fired off those.
Oh my gosh. No, there were a million. It's funny the way it went. Yeah, get into there's a lot to talk about. I'm reading the comments on the side. We're gonna get to your questions as well. We'll get into the KC game and everything else. I know people are writing direct questions, but keep writing the questions. We're gonna get to a bunch of these. Also, please subscribe, like. I didn't tell you that as well. For the show. Josh should be back on Tuesday, the three of us. But otherwise, hey, it's a Charger win. Want to hear what you have to say. Mario, go ahead. Finish what you were saying. You wanted to get into the Charger offense and defensive lines.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say shock factor heading into this game with how both O-lines played. Because we headed into this matchup and I said it ad nauseum. I was like, all right, this defense, they're giving up the highest completion percentage in the league. They're last in sacks, and they're last in sack rate. He's going to have all the time in the world to throw the football. That's what I was saying all on Thursday. And I truly believed it. We hit today's game and couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, if I could delete a show, I would delete that show so quickly. And this morning, I crapped on my third grandfather. 5 sacks. Herbert hit the ground 5 times. The Chargers only get 1 sack on Cousins, who's, by the way, not a mobile quarterback. Like, if you put a little bit of pressure on Cousins, Cousins goes down. He's not going to escape the pocket at all. Rodgers does a better job of doing that to him. Bosman just kind of looked like he was getting shoved around the whole time. It wasn't like one of those where like they couldn't protect Herbert, but we could stop Bozeman. Yep. Sorry, I'll say your name right when you can block. It was like we could establish the run either. Our highest rusher today was Gus Edwards for 6 carries for 32 yards. Their highest rusher was Bijan Robinson for 102 yards at 3.9 average for 26 carries. They won the battle up front, Dave. Like, if we're being honest, like 116 rushing yards to 56. I'd love to see time to throw. We're probably going to get those numbers later. But the line of scrimmage battle was won by Atlanta. And that's pretty nerve-wracking when we face Chris Jones next week.
Yeah, so here we go. The Chargers, obviously, the tackles are solid. Our interior offensive line has been terrible the whole year. You know, we're all concerned. Justin Herbert tried to run a few times. You know, the Falcons were obviously aware that this isn't the same Justin Herbert that will take a sack. He will run. He will get his yards. It wasn't one of those days where Justin Herbert was great on his feet. At the same time, that's fine too. I mean, he ended up 5 carries, 1 yard. The Falcons were prepared as far as what they're going to do defensively. Remember, the Falcons also have a head coach that was a defensive coach that was one of the best in the NFL. So the Falcons are a team that's obviously going to prepare and know what they're getting ready for and have their players in the right position of what's happening. The Chargers interior offensive line, I don't think you can fix it, Mario. It is what it is, right? How do you keep Justin Herbert from getting hurt? How do you get runs when Gus Edwards is now your number 1? As we mentioned, J.K. Dobbins is on the IR. Fidel, had 5 yards to carry. It was nice to see him out there, right? 4 carries, 20 yards. It was nice to see him do something, and then, didn't see a lot more options. So they only ran the ball a total of 17 times today. They threw the ball 24 times or 25 times, 24 times. Sorry, J.K. Scott's attempt is there. And speaking of that, because I'll forget to ask you, what did you think about the fake punt? Did you like it?
Okay. I'm a fake punt guy.
Me too.
I love So it's hard for me to crap on it. That being said, my first thought was, if you have Justin Herbert and all you do is sit there and pump up and jerk him off, pump him up. This is why we need Josh. This is why we need Josh.
Which part? I'm sure he's like, wait, I just got mentioned in that part.
No, but my point is when you have Herbert and you.
By the way, I'm gonna cut you off right here. For anyone who's watching this right now, look at the background of Mario. Mario right now is in the family home. There are a million grandkids, probably under the age of 10, right behind where that TV is back there, and yet that's the language he used right there.
What doesn't help is
any of those kids go to their parents or your mother, their grandmother, and say, "Hey, what does that mean?" I'm dying to know.
Well, so actually, funny enough, is when I was watching the games earlier today, I cussed. And I was like, "Oh, my bad." And my brother-in-law looks at me and goes, "Dude, you cuss a lot." And it's, I go, "That's sorry. I'll work on it." So I was so
Dude, what?
excited.
Yeah, you're a grown man though. You can say the words.
Yeah.
Just don't bring your kids around me.
Well,
You know what you're gonna get.
so we talked about this before, but for people that don't know, like in media and stuff like that, some of the worst mouths you'll ever hear are in media. And then as soon as the mic turns on, it's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's me.
yeah, exactly. I tell people all the time, like, if you heard our breaks and like, it is the worst mouths you'll ever hear. But as soon as, you get on, mic turns on, FCC comes in, boom, you're good. Well, anyways, so no, I thought since you have Herbert and you have, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, I don't think you need a fake punt. I think sometimes using a fake punt is for when your offense is just, you don't have a good QB, you can't move the football whatsoever, and you're not the more talented team, so you have to use trick plays to win the game. That's how I kind of see trick plays, I think, as a nutshell. And I thought in that moment, we're the better team. We have the better QB. I trust our QB to make plays when he needs to. Why aren't we using that? Right. And like you've said it, and they did it today on third down. Justin Herbert's such a big guy. Like, so why don't we just use that on a read option one time and see how it works? Like, they wouldn't see that coming. So that's my opinions on that. Did you like the fake punt?
I did. I loved it. You kidding me? And I kept thinking, all right, who was more nervous at the time? Is it Jim Harbaugh for calling it, or is it J.K. Scott, who I've never seen throw a pass? Like, I've watched J.K. Scott play, I think, every college game and every pro game. I watched when he was on the Packers. For people who are new to the show, Josh was teammates with J.K. Scott at Alabama and Bradley Bozeman. So, and J.K. Scott and Josh were pretty close. So, I've never seen J.K. Scott ever throw a ball in my life. The fact that he did it today in an NFL game, in his mind, I'm sure he's like, cool. But also in his mind, he has to be going, holy cow, I better throw a catchable pass, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how often are you doing it? I've never seen him do it.
I bet he would like, and there's probably no worse feeling as a fake punter. Like, it's such a, highs of high and lows of lows where when it works, you're like, I am the man. They finally know my name. And then when it doesn't work, it's like, you are now the biggest loser on campus, or like you're now the biggest loser in the city, and everyone's just going, why is JK doing this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I liked it. I don't know. I don't know. I think I liked it. It's something that people will now see on film, getting ready for the Chargers, being prepared. Maybe that helps you down the line as far as making tackles downfields on punts. Who knows what that means, right? Because now you have to be aware. If you face the Chargers, they have it in their playbook that, hey, be aware of the fake punt. Remember when the Rams used to have Johnny Hecker, and he'd do it all the time. And then you go, how the hell does that happen? You say this guy either runs for a first down or passes for a first down. That's what they do. Yet it worked for the Rams all the time. It was bizarre. I was thinking it's one of those you can use once a year. I don't think you can use it more than once a year, but the Rams used to use it all the time.
So that's a good point. You can only use it like once or twice a year. You really can. I don't know if this was the game to use it.
Yeah, it's a good point too.
Yeah.
I don't know. This game was never like a runaway. I don't know. If it works, Jim Harbaugh is the happiest guy going. He's acting like it's New Year's Eve, right? He's freaking out. The fact it didn't work, I was fine with it. I know they were a yard short, but I was fine with it. I was fine overall with the way it went. You got to get into Quentin Johnston. People are dying for you to talk about Quentin Johnston here. Quentin Johnston, as we know, the game on Monday night against the Ravens, honestly, one of the worst games ever in the history of NFL football for one guy. Like, is his well-being okay? That's how bad of a game it was on national television. And then today against the Falcons, you're like, dude, do something. Do something. Justin Herbert said all the right things. Do something. What was your feeling on Quentin Johnston?
So my first big problem right away, and this is like a little thing for me that I always like to focus in with our receivers at all levels, and it's not really. It's going to sound like the most Jim Brady thing ever, but it's not like about the route sometimes, not about the catching. It's about blocking. And when you block and how hard you block, especially for your teammates are getting a screen pass. Chargers fourth drive of the game in the second quarter. Lad's getting a screen pass, and he couldn't have missed his block more in his life. He didn't even touch the Falcons corner. It just went right around him. Lad gets popped. Lad has a bad shoulder, and about everything else in his body is about 60%. And you just let your teammate get popped like that? Are you freaking kidding me? If you can't catch, if you can't run a route, if you can't create separation, at least block. At least have some type of positive feel out there to, affect the game. Amon-Ra's brother, I don't know how to say his name. I'm not going to try. But Amon-Ra's his brother, he was what credited as like the best blocking receiver in the league. Now, it's a run play when he's going in, but at least he does something well. That pisses me off right away. And then on that same drive, he's one-on-one in coverage. It's a tough ball, but it's in the only spot he can catch it. And my God, Dave, did he look like a fifth grader trying to catch a football? I mean, it looks so ugly to me. And it's like, if you're this first-round receiver, you are this top-tier guy, and you can't make that play, it's a time when our playmakers need to do something, and he doesn't do it. And I'm done defending. I am done. You guys got me. I'm not saying again that this matchup works well for him. I said that on Thursday. Delete the tape.
Delete the tape. So every coach will tell you, and every fan will say the same thing. You don't ever want to have to coach effort, right? I mean, again, a lot of it comes down to what's your effort level on trying to help the team. There are plenty of good wide receivers in the history of this league, by the way, that have been great blockers. The old get your pants dirty line. I don't even know what to say. I just, a lot of times I look at him and I'm curious to know, because I don't know the exact plays of how many times he runs his route wrong. Like, it seems like he's not in the right place. There was a situation in the corner of the end zone today where a ball was thrown in his direction. Of course, he doesn't make the catch that some of the receivers make. It was tough. If he pulled it off, he would say, that's a great catch. But if you look at Josh Palmer was right next to him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So the point is, I have much more faith that Josh Palmer was where he was supposed to be and Quentin Johnston wasn't, because we've heard Quentin Johnston messes up the playbook frequently. So the problem is, when you have two receivers together, for people who aren't figuring out what I'm saying, he's bringing his guy with him. So now you have, instead of one-on-one with Quentin Johnston or one-on-one with Josh Palmer, now you have the safety, you have two cornerbacks, and you have your guys. So now there are three defenders there for one ball. You're lucky to walk out of there without being intercepted. And so I'm curious to know who screwed that up, who messed that up on how that worked out that way. Was Josh Palmer in the right place, or was Quentin Johnston in the right place? Either way, it could have been really bad, and we were lucky it was an incomplete pass, where I think if you're a Charger fan, man, he had a chance to make a great catch there. I think Justin Herbert, like, what the hell just happened? I just threw the ball right between five guys, and we were lucky that it fell on the ground. That was a scary play right there. So, man, I don't know. Jim Harbaugh's not going to call out anybody on his team. That's not what he does. He's not going to call anybody on the team. Quentin Johnston for the day, for people want to know, 2 receptions, targeted 4 times, total of 12 yards. That being said, Lad McConkey, as Mario hit it right on the head. Not only busted shoulder, busted leg, his teeth probably hurt. 9 receptions, 117 yards. Most of all those were in the first half. Targeted 12 times. It was a homecoming also for Lad McConkey, going back to Georgia. But, think about the numbers he could have had if he was healthy. Like one of those games where, man, he's on pace for 15 receptions today. And he was. But, man, he's so banged up, including the one they called but didn't call where he got hit in the head.
Oh, my God.
How do you pick the flag up? It was right there in front of all of us. I mean, I used to say we made jokes on this team, Mario. I mean, on the show about the Chiefs. There are no more jokes. I mean, every week it is a thing with the Chiefs where it is fake wrestling, like the folding chair is out. And if that was the Chiefs, automatic 7 points. We've never done it in the history in the league, but that's going to be an automatic 7 and player ejected. And the head coach can go too. It was ridiculous. And then say, hey, we're picking up the flag. What happened to the health and safety of your players? Trevor Lawrence right now is driving an ambulance with his arm sticking straight up in the air because he got smoked in the head. You guys have no problem calling it on certain guys, but when it comes to a rookie, comes to a team that basically isn't as well known as the Chiefs, very interesting. By the way, that Chiefs game, the way it ended, where the official runs in and calls that the play's dead, and then because the Raiders turn it over, Chiefs win. They just said, I forget about that guy. That guy doesn't count. We aren't paying that guy this week. I don't know where he came from. We all saw this. Play's dead. But no, we're going to ignore it and give the Chiefs the automatic victory. That was crazy. That's the kind of stuff that happens to certain teams. It actually happens for one team. It just doesn't happen for the Chargers.
And so sometimes I think in sports too, you can benefit from size, right? Like if you're a bigger guy, you benefit from it. I think also I've always said like if you're a tinier guy, you benefit in basketball from fouls because if you can bump into someone, you can really fly, and then that could be a foul. When in reality, the guy maybe tapped you, but you're like, yeah, I'm 5'4", so like I'm gonna fly. And I always thought in football, especially with this new rule, I'm like, this could really help the smaller guys go catch the ball and just if you literally bend your knee a little bit, you're gonna get head to head so many times just because of the angle coming in. And with Ladd, I was sitting there going, that was very clearly head to head. And by the way, like the way he got up too, where like he got up kind of hurt. I'm not saying you always have to get up hurt to get that call, but I was like, that I feel like that should be an obvious call, you know, where it's like, all right, the guy's clearly, took a bad, brunt of it. And if we're, like you said, all about player safety, then clearly we need to do something about this. And we need to set a standard for the rest of the game. Set, motion. And we just don't do that. If that was someone tweeted this, I don't know who did, but if that was Doran James, he would have been suspended for 2 years.
Shirley Morales,
You know what I mean?
right here. Yeah, Shirley Morales writes right here. They suspended Doran for a soft hit and Cam Hart penalty on Arizona. Nowhere near what we saw happen to Ladd.
Oh, nowhere near.
I hope the Chargers, I hope Jim Harbaugh says something. Like he's not going to say it in the press conference today, but I hope sometime during the week he says the NFL needs to be consistent. That's all you got to say. You don't need to call out one ref. I don't know what the penalty is, but for everyone who knows, you say anything about a referee, it's minimum of $15,000, and then can go further up. But it's one of those protect your guys. I think guaranteed guys in the locker room will appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and like a guy, it goes a long way with a guy that you just drafted too, and it goes a long way with a coach that you haven't even been there a full year yet. And it kind of sets the standard for also a lot of free agents coming in and draft picks. Like, hey, I got your back no matter what. Even when you're in the wrong, I got your back. And that's what I always love the coaches that do that. But that was ridiculous, man. It frustrated the crap out of me. And again, you mentioned it. It's the rich get richer. We're like, if that happened on the Chiefs, they'd get that. When Brady was on the Bucs, they'd get that. Like that bull crap is just nauseating. And the Raiders too. Can they just not help us out at all?
No. No, they can't. They obviously can't. They can't do it. The Chiefs say, I don't know. I follow some of the family members on Instagram, and the Chiefs basically said it's because Jesus loves them and hates the rest of the teams in the league. That's what was posted today. So I don't know.
Did I tell you? Oh my God, I didn't text you this. Did I tell you what I came home to?
No, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
There's 3 things I have to tell you, and one of the things I don't know if I can say on air yet, so that one might have to hold. 2 other things.
Is this good? Are you about to announce another pregnancy that you weren't supposed to announce?
No, but that was a very funny moment in Bold Crew history. I come home, and I came home Wednesday, but we're watching football Thursday, and my mom comes in, and she goes, "Do the Chargers play today?" And I go, "No, they don't play." I was like, "But the Bears are on right now." I know. I was like, "Do you care about that one?" Because Bears Lions, that's like a big one for our family. And she goes, "No, I'm a Chiefs fan now."
No way.
Yeah, and I sat there and I called a lawyer, and I said, "I need the fact."
You want to be emancipated?
Yeah, I want to be emancipated.
You're like 26. I want to be emancipated.
Yeah, I want to break away. I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "Oh, I love their podcast. It's so good." And they're just such a cute family. I know.
Whoa. Your mom is searching out Chiefs podcasts?
How ridiculous! It's because of
follow her on Instagram.
Oh yeah, it's
dude. I thought she loves like Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, like many other women in my neighborhood say. But the fact she's searching out Chiefs podcasts is very disappointing.
No, it's because of the New Heights podcast, the Travis and Jason pod.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I thought you meant she's goes to a podcast on her phone and she's typing in Chiefs.
No, it's because of the New Heights pod. She's like, "Oh, they're God-fearing men." I know. It was tough. I heard it and I was like, "Oh, that hurt. That hurt bad."
There you go.
So now we have to fight a Chiefs fan. I'm kidding, but what are you gonna
do? Yeah, dude. And Canny here says, your mom's a bandwagon fan. She is.
She is
100%.
She is.
Yeah.
And if and I told her, I go, well, you better, when Spotify comes in, if Bullet Crew's not ahead of New Heights, then we're gonna have some real issues.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. See. By the way, speaking of fights, I got to tell you, I enjoyed this rivalry weekend in college football. I like the fights. Like it is, every game was like, which one was better? Okay,
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna throw a couple at you real quick because Josh isn't gonna see any of them. Josh missed everything. He's so far down in Mexico, he had no Wi-Fi, he had nothing. He had nothing.
He's off the
going on.
grid.
Dude, completely off the grid. I talked to him one time. I go, "Hey, how's it going down there?" And he goes, "Well, this is what we did. We pulled out our folding chairs, we put them in the sand, and then when the sun went down, we're going to bed. That's what we did." Like he's not embracing anything, and it's like a 10-hour drive back. He's sick as a dog, as I found out. So so he didn't say anything. All right, I'm gonna throw a couple fights at you. Did you see the Auburn Alabama fight?
Loved it. Yes.
That was a great one. I don't know how the two Alabama guys got penalized when it was the Auburn guys that dragged the guys into their bench and then they beat the hell out of them. But the Alabama guys got in trouble for punching guys with their fists, with their face, basically. So then North Carolina State, North Carolina was awesome too.
Okay. Slept on one, by the way.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
One. Like I hope you stayed up and watch. That was a great one. The Florida State fight was awesome.
I missed that one.
Oh, you got to go back.
Okay.
You got to go back. Penn State and Maryland coaches fighting after the game was great. Yelling at each other was great.
I'm on James Franklin's side on that too.
I am too.
Yeah.
James Franklin and Loxley. And then Ohio State, Michigan, which took it to a whole nother level.
Dude.
Okay. A whole nother level. Which one did you, if you had to recommend them to anybody, which one do you recommend? I'm recommending the fight to North Carolina State. I'm recommending the aftermath to Ohio State, Michigan, though.
I want to give credit to this one guy, and I don't know who he is, but I watched it and I go, this guy has the biggest cojones in the world. So Sawyer, the Ohio State linebacker, and for people that aren't familiar with college football, is it Sawyer or Sawyer?
Yeah, Sawyer.
Sawyer. He is like going to be an NFL linebacker. Yeah, he's going to be like second or third round pick, which is high for a linebacker. He throws that flag into the ground, and then Ohio State corner does the same. And some like stick of a Michigan fan picks that thing up to try to keep him from stopping on it, and he squares up with that guy in the Ohio State corner. He looked death in the eye and goes, "I choose Michigan." Dude, I wouldn't even do that for the American flag. Let that thing on the ground, let him step on it. I'm tipping out. Like the fact that he was like, "This is my moment." I was like, "That's amazing."
Oh, by the way, I missed one here. Demetrius got me. Okay, was Arizona State? Arizona was pretty good. I will say this: the guy for Arizona is wearing a helmet. The guy for Arizona State, big dude, just holding the flag, trying to spike. After he spikes it in the ground, holding it one hand, no helmet. Why does the guy with the helmet just headbutt him? Just jack him, dude. You had it right there. You're gonna go on the field with that helmet. That's on you. So my point in the Michigan Ohio State thing. The police hit the field and start macing players, okay? Burning guys' eyeballs out. So if I'm a parent, and I'm like, wait, I'm sending my kid to go play major college football. This is the greatest thing ever. Oh, wait a second. My kid just got sprayed in the face with mace. I'm not exactly okay with it. You know what I mean? So if you're a parent on either side, you're like, wait a second. Like I'm watching guys hold each other's hands because they can't see. They're just freaked out because one thing to be blind, and knowing that someone 50 yards away from you is trying to punch you right in the face. Like you can't even see it coming.
No, it's also just imagine playing 4 quarters of football where your body already hurts a ton. You beat your rival, and it's like the greatest moment ever. You're probably going to go party and have the best party of your life, and then you get pepper sprayed. Yeah. You probably have to go in the shower and like lay down to get it all off because if you can't have it, people that don't know, if you get it, if that goes lower on your body, like it gets hotter. It's like, it's going to go down to your balls and then you're in real trouble. Learn that from Jackass.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, literally, because there's a really funny part of that is when they all get pepper spread and Steve-O goes, "Idiots, you gotta lay down." And they're all like, "It's all my fault."
Hey, right here,
Oh.
shoot, it just flipped by me real quick. Someone compares Kirk Cousins to Philip Rivers. I disagree, man. I take Philip Rivers every day of the week over Kirk Cousins. Every day, I take Philip Rivers.
I did too. I would take Philip Rivers over him any day of the week. Kirk Cousins is I don't even know who would be like. Philip Rivers is one step above Kirk Cousins. I feel pretty comfortable in saying that. Philip Rivers would have won that game today.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's get through some of these super chats here.
Yeah, I was about to say we got a ton. Alan says a win is a win. Already hit the like button, Dave.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it. Alan, I agree with you 100%. A win's a win. Not all of them are pretty, right? As we say on the show.
Yeah.
Much like many of your prom dates, but it gets the job done. It's all right.
Exactly.
You
Shout out to prom. Except mine were great. Shout out Hannah and Laney. I believe the two. If I had to remember. All right, AK. Having great coaching is different. I'm so happy for my baby. QB winning games without playing great. He has defense. Let's go. I'm gonna be honest with you, AK. I'm sorry I am not Josh, and Josh can translate you a lot better than I can. So that's my bad on that.
I think he's talking about Herbert.
Okay.
Yeah, happy for Justin Herbert. AK, appreciate it. Again, it's if Justin Herbert in fantasy, yeah, you're a little upset, but I guarantee you Justin Herbert's getting on that plane back to LA. Very excited. Does not give an S about not throwing a touchdown pass.
Demetrius, hey, Mario, question. Are y'all worried about the pass rush going into KC next week? Dave, I'll let you start with this. Are you a little bit worried?
All right. You guys are going to think I'm, full of it when I say this. Yeah, of course, I'm always worried about the pass rush. You're always worried about Chris Jones. I'm worried about the referees. Weird things happen with the Chiefs every single week, especially in KC. That's just the way it goes. When the games are at SoFi and it's the Chiefs, weird things happen there too. I just don't even know what to say anymore. I'm curious to see. I don't know. I hate to, I'm not one of those guys like to blame umpires or referees, but I've never seen anything in the history of sports week after week that surrounds the Chiefs the way it does. I'd love to see the Chargers get a win, earn a win, and not one of those where we were robbed. Nothing worse than as a fan feeling like you were robbed. I guess as a player, it's worse.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I am worried because of the way the Chiefs have been playing. Where I watch them and I go, you don't look invincible. You look clear as day, and you look like you have, a lot of holes in the armor right now. You should have lost that Raiders game. You should have lost that Panthers game. And now you face the Chargers, who are a light years better than both those teams. And it's a divisional game, right? So emotionally be higher, and it's a night game. So a lot of things kind of go in favor of the Chargers. I'd be more nervous if last week was in Las Vegas. Or not even last week on Friday, if it was in Las Vegas, like, all right, home field advantage maybe played a factor in it, but it was in Kansas City and that team still really struggled. So, and I think Harbaugh is going to get the boys really up to play. And we know Mac always shows up in big games.
Okay, a serious question. If you're a Chiefs fan, do you believe in this team the way you've believed in other Chiefs teams? Meaning that every game you play is close. Every single one. I mean, the last few weeks, they took on the Raiders and the Panthers and almost lost both of them. I mean, are the Chiefs the dominating best team by far in the league?
If the Lions were in the AFC, I'd be more worried. But I think if I'm a Chiefs fan, I know that no matter where the game goes, I don't care, how close it is. I know that they can pull it out. And that there's probably one quarterback that's beaten Mahomes in that scenario, and that's Josh Allen, who hasn't done it in the playoffs.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm not sold on the Chiefs. I just think weird things happen like I've never seen before in the history of in the history of football. Just never seen anything like it week after week. Like, it's weird that the world champions constantly need help from the referees. The game the other day, if it was a playoff game, they would have been talking about it like they did the Tuck rule. It was insane that you had a referee coming in from the side calling the play off, but because there was a turnover involved, they let the play go like nothing had happened.
The only thing too that it's kind of surprising to me is we've seen the Niners suffer from this.
Yeah.
None of their guys they haven't had the injury bad luck yet.
No,
you're
right. No.
A lot of miles.
Yeah.
So
True.
We'll go to the next one. Antonio Wayland, 2 more to clinch a playoff berth. Let's go.
Yeah, this team's making the playoffs. This team is making the playoffs. Let's go is right. I think things will be okay. Amanda writes on the side here, Mario. You probably know better than me. It's interesting. Is this for real that the last, let's say, 4 teams in a row have had extra days to prepare for the Chargers?
Okay, so
I haven't looked at it to even think about it.
So, all right, let's look at this. So Falcons was on a Sunday. We're on Monday Night Football. So yes, in that one. I believe Ravens were on a Thursday the week before they played us.
Chiefs get more time.
No, it was Monday. We played. So no, it would have been even for us. So that's not accurate. We were even with the Ravens on preparation. So that's not accurate.
Okay.
But close. All right. Ryan Culpepper, always a legend. Ladd has already surpassed Quentin Johnston in production in the last 12 games. Ladd 58 for 815 yards. Quentin Johnston 62 for 797 yards in 27 games. LMAO. Sorry, I didn't want to put words in your mouth. BTFU. Bolt the F up.
Yeah, it's extremely disappointing. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, Ladd McConkey, praise him all you want, but if QJ was close to the player they thought they were getting, you would sit there and say, man, we have great wide receivers for years to come. And we don't. Unfortunately, he's such a question mark. I mean, I don't know if I feel any better with him now than I did a year ago. I almost feel the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah,
By the way, I'm going to give credit for one play. It's ridiculous. I give credit to the guy who made one play, but at the same time makes a tremendous amount of money. Joey Bosa had a huge tackle on a run stop in this game. Do you know what I'm talking about? Joey Bosa came around the end, and as soon as the ball was handed off, he made an immediate tackle. I know his job's to get to the quarterback, but he did a fantastic job. Again, it was I'm looking at the box score right now. It does not give him credit for tackle for loss. It doesn't give him credit for anything, actually. It says one quarterback hit. That's all it says for Bosa in the box score. Am I crazy on this one? Do I have the wrong guy? I thought it was for sure Joey Bosa. I know the announcer said Joey Bosa as well.
No, I'm with you. Pretty sure he got that one. I mean, the person I was living on tackles for loss today too was Derwin James. By the way, hell of a freaking game.
James was a machine.
Machine today. Which thank the Lord we've been wanting. By the way, first 4-pick game since 2017.
Wow.
I was in high school.
Dude, let me guess. It was against the Buffalo Bills, right?
Oh,
it was the one where Nathan Peterman threw like 6 in the first half. I was there, dude. It was the craziest damn thing ever. It was like the Bills only needed one more win to make the playoffs, and they were making a point to Tyrod Taylor and played Peterman. He threw 6 in the first half. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Like, I thought the Bills were going to kill the coach at halftime. Like, you were literally killing this team. At that time, the Bills hadn't made the playoffs forever, like 20 years. Since the Music City Miracle, they hadn't made the playoffs. And then they go Peterman over Tyrod Taylor. All right, go ahead.
Next one, sneaker flavors. They said next 3 games were the most important. We just took 2 out of the 3 and now on our way to take care of the chicken sacrificing Chiefs. Didn't know that part. All we need is someone to step up, not named Ladd. What do you think?
That's going to be tough.
That's a lot to ask.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be tough. I mean, Ladd McConkey right now, they're relying on him, I think, a lot more than they thought they would, even when they drafted him. All the talk is, hey, we got this guy. We think we got a steal. There's a reason why, we moved up to grab him. We think the world of him. But who would have thought that you're relying on your entire passing game on him?
Yeah.
I mean, we joke about Will Disley. Ladd McConkey is your biggest threat through the passing game by far. But he is, as you said, taking a beating. Wherever that guy goes after the season to heal up, I can't imagine what that guy's body is going to look like, come January.
Dude, I remember also, I want to say it was the guys from the 33rd team. I remember listening to him one time, and because obviously last year's receiver class was like so ridiculous. They were saying like if Ladd was in this year's receiving class, he'd be a first round pick, which just goes to show how insane this class was.
Yes.
But
yeah,
benefited now.
Dude, some of this stuff, by the way, speaking of guys you could have had, which I'm fine drafting Alt over Malik Neighbors right now. Bowers is still the one that I question, but it doesn't matter. Malik Neighbors' lines that are coming out about the Giants more and more are freaking hilarious. From the outside, they're funny as can be. Oh my God. That line he dropped on Daniel Jones about not voting. Did you catch that one?
Wait, what?
When Daniel Jones says, I don't vote. And he said, really? So your decision making off the field is just as bad as it is on the field?
Oh my God. I mean, that's good. That's good. That's funny.
Yeah, it was a funny line. He went after his coach last week, goes after Daniel Jones. I mean, this guy is like, dude, I am not used to losing. I've lost more games my rookie year in the NFL than I lost my entire college career. I am not happy right now with the Giants. It cracks me up every time.
God, that's one of the more greatest things I've ever heard. They really fooled themselves with that playoff run. Like, absolutely fooled themselves.
Yeah.
Like, my Lord. My freaking Lord. God.
All right, you got any more of them?
There's one last one, and shout out for the donation, Askabum, but we're just probably not going to throw that up there. It's just a really hot take.
Okay.
And then, it gets a little dicey, but yeah, we'll be all set there.
Okay, well, there you go. That's nice. Hold on, man. Nate, you just moved a little bit, or I just noticed the picture directly over your right shoulder, or over your shoulder. Yeah, who's in the picture?
Okay, so that's my parents and that's a niece and two nephews right there.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I just want to know if we said there's a little Mario back there. That's
No. I will get the picture next time. But there is a photo that it's from my senior year photos that you had to get. I don't know if that's a Midwest thing.
Did you have long? Yeah, everyone does it. You have long hair or short hair?
I had long hair, but like they just made me do like a serious face, and like I want to beat my own ass every time I see it. It's bad. It's
everybody feels that way.
Yeah,
we all feel that way.
I have a story for you too before we get out of here.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
So it's a little sappy, but I promise you, there's a big payoff. So Grandma Herron's not doing too good. It's looking like So it looks like it's wrapping up, but we were saying goodbye. And it's like all my siblings are getting like we're all talking to her and all like this emotional stuff, and I'm the last one, the youngest, and as I'm getting up there, I give her a hug, kiss her forehead. And she looks at me and she goes, you didn't come back to see me. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? You don't mess with us. No, I came back to see you and my mother, my two most important women in my life. And she goes, no, I know her birthday is like early November. She was bringing up my ex. She brought up my ex-girlfriend.
Your grandmother did?
Yeah, in our last exchange we'll ever have, we brought up my ex-girlfriend, and I was just like shocked. I just started dying laughing. I was like, "That's hilarious," and I was just like, "Yeah, we're love you, grandma. See you next time."
See you next time. Was this a private conversation, or was your dad or mother watching?
I mean, it was private, but like. I was like walking out. And my brother
Everyone was listening.
My brother goes, "What did she say to you?" And I go, "She brought up my ex-girlfriend's birthday. What did she say to you?" He goes, "That she loved me."
There you go.
It was funny though. I was like, "That's great, good stuff."
Oh my gosh. All right, we'll let everybody get back to the second round of games, and then the Sunday night game, of course, tonight. The Sunday night game looks a little crazy with all the snow that's happening, but it should be always an interesting day of football. Look, good day today. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you're going to remember, hey, the Chargers won yesterday. It's a good week. It's a good week. Get ready for the Chiefs coming up next. After that, we're going to be back, though. The three of us, hopefully, if Josh is feeling up to it on Tuesday, we'll be back. Mario and I are going to be here. we'll be back 1:00 Pacific time on Tuesday and Thursday this week, talking Charger football. We'll go through the week that was at the same time, get Josh's opinions of what happened in the game. Again, let us know what you thought. If we missed something today that we didn't touch on, let us know. We'll be happy to talk about it on Tuesday. But again, getting ready for the big Chiefs week. Chargers are moving in the right direction, which is exciting. We'll talk about all the things ahead. But don't forget, like, subscribe to the show. We need all that as well. Thank you so much for listening, following us after the big Chargers win 17-13 over the Falcons. Team's now 8-4 on the season. We keep moving. We keep moving forward. So for Mario Herron, I'm Dave Palet. Thanks again for listening to the Bolt Crew podcast.